Hello and welcome to our event, Looking Upstream, Searching for Solutions to Ocean Pollution. I'm Brad Parks, Director of Conservation Education for Ashore, Art to Save the Sea. And behind me is Coos Bay here in Southern Oregon, where the ocean or the rivers literally meet the sea. And it's the home of Ashore as well. So I'm both personally and professionally excited to be here with all of you because this is where I encountered the ocean first many years ago after growing up landlocked in the interior in Michigan. Ashore, as beautiful as it is, has found our mission here because plastic pollution is on our beaches. And so we found a beautiful solution then to this ugly problem in creating art to save the sea. So it starts with marine debris. Volunteers from all over the coast come along and clean up the beaches and bring us this debris. It's then cleaned and processed and designed by our lead artist into monumental marine sculptures that draw attention to this pollution problem. And if we're doing our job well, inspire and provoke action among the folks who are seeing the sculptures. We really want folks to reflect on plastic in their own lives because it's so ubiquitous that it really is something that we come in contact with every day. We really want to use these sculptures to get people to think about how we can replace or eliminate plastic to help disrupt this ocean pollution problem from the beginning. So then these sculptures travel across the United States and Canada, visiting zoos, aquariums, botanic gardens, even shopping centers, all in an effort to awaken a movement to reduce plastic pollution in the ocean. You know, we're very excited to have one of our partners here today where our sculptures are currently on exhibit. That's the Tennessee Aquarium in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We also have an exhibition at John Ball Zoo in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Botanica Gardens in Wichita, Kansas. All three inland locations that really helped us inspire this looking upstream concept today. We're also honored to have permanent pieces at Bandon, Oregon, our hometown here on the southern coast, as well as further up north at Newport Aquarium, and in Washington, D.C. at the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of Natural History. So, in recognition of yesterday's worldwide event, World Ocean Day, I'm joined by Natalie Rogers, the Director of Learning and Evaluation at Tennessee Aquarium, and world-renowned aquanaut Fabien Cousteau, the founder and president of the Fabien Cousteau Ocean Learning Center. We're here for a coast-to-coast discussion on how we're all interconnected to this plastic pollution problem, and really reinforcing the World Ocean Day theme of how we can take collective action to care for our oceans and waterways, no matter where we are. So, hello, Natalie. Please tell me who is there with you behind you.
Hi, from the Tennessee Aquarium in beautiful downtown Chattanooga. I am Natalie Rogers, the Director of Learning and Evaluation here. And then I also have a special guest with me right behind. You'll see Sylvia, the silver tip shark here behind me, which is one of the exhibits, a part of the Ashore exhibits, one of the sculptures that you will see if you come and visit the Tennessee Aquarium. The Ashore exhibits are here through October 30th. And the Ashore exhibits is presented by the Tennessee Department of Transportation through their Nobody Trashes Tennessee anti-littering campaign, as well as from Unum as well. So we just want to take the time and opportunity to thank both of those sponsors in bringing these awesome art sculptures here. Part of the reason why this is so important, why these sculptures are here at the Tennessee Aquarium, as Brad has so eloquently stated, is it's a beautiful way to demonstrate what a real world problem we're having with plastics in our environment, and specifically in our ocean ways and our waterways as well. Behind me, if you can hear the noise and the traffic, Tennessee Aquarium sits on a major roadway that separates us from the actual Tennessee River. 100 million pieces of trash has been found littered along the Tennessee roadways. And it's a huge problem because those trash and that plastic specifically are entering our waterways. So we want to take the opportunity to shed light on what this problem is and how it's affecting us. And the Ashore exhibit gives us a great opportunity to share that messaging with our guests.
That's excellent, Natalie, and we're so thankful for your partnership. In fact, we go back a long way, you and I'm thankful to get a chance to reconnect with you and the team there, who also then connected us to our other guest, Fabien Cousteau. So please tell us more about the Ocean Learning Center.
Hi, great to be with all of you, and happy Ocean Week. Although yesterday marked the Ocean Day, there's a marathon happening all over the world, especially in places like the United Nations, the Explorers Club, and many other places here in New York and other places. So it should be Ocean Year because at the end of the day, the ocean is our life support system. And when we talk about things like plastic or overconsumption of natural resources or climate change, these are all things that affect our natural resource bank account, the ocean. The Ocean Learning Center is an initiative or a set of initiatives that aims very much like you all to educate and empower local communities around the world to become part of the solution. We talk about plastics in this particular platform, but globally speaking, we put into our ocean, our life supports, our circulatory system of life, if you will, our ocean and our waterways, over 11 million metric tons of plastic every single year. And that adds itself to the already 200 million metric tons of plastic that are floating around our waterways and our ocean. And that's not only an aesthetic issue, it's also a health issue, because as that plastic with its endocrine disruptors make their way up the food web and into our plates and eventually into our bodies, it affects our health and our learning and behavioral disabilities, or augments them, just like it does the animals that we share this space with. So it's very important to be able to share not only the problems, but the solutions with the general public so that they can become part of the solution that they seek. We can't do that without them, but we have to address the issues at its root source, not just cleaning up plastic, which is important, but also changing our behavior.
Such an important message. And so looking at the root source, what I've come to learn and what we've been sharing with our followers is that 80% of the plastic that's in the ocean has originated from the land, from inland sources and along the coast. And so we find that even with the sculptures that we create and the cleanups we're doing here in Oregon, shotgun shells, for example, that are washing down the rivers and ending up on the ocean. Beaches here are an example of that inland pollution that we can, very tangibly find. So Natalie, I'm curious, there on the Tennessee River, tell us about its connection then to ocean pollution.
Absolutely. So I mentioned earlier today there's about 100 million pieces of trash and specifically plastics on the Tennessee roadways. And as you can see behind us, we're sitting right here on the Tennessee River, and how that trash and that plastic enter those waterways. So one of the things I think people don't realize is how plastics are entering our roadways, besides just the trash that we might see and things we might throw out, but also thinking about what products we are consuming, things that we are purchasing, such as cosmetics, beauty products, body washes. A lot of plastics, and specifically microplastics, are found within those products, and they are intentionally created to be placed into that. So understanding more the power of the consumer and the things that you can change based on your behavior, you can change a lot of those things and kind of stop and reduce what's happening in our waterways.
Well, Fabien, I'm curious about any of your insights. Why does this really matter? Why should we be thinking about rivers and looking at the root sources?
Well, because by and large, and it's been said earlier on today, is that plastic doesn't come from nature. It comes from humans and human beings, human activity. And by and large, human beings live near water sources, whether they be rivers or streams, lakes, ocean. So when we talk about consumables, plastics, plastic in and of itself is an interesting material that we can't do without. Of course, we can modify the chemical compositions to eliminate maybe some of the petroleum that's in those plastics. But why are we using a material that's built to last 500 or more years in things that we use for 30 minutes or less? Packaging being one of them, of course. Cups and bottles and plastic bags are poster children for all of this. More lately, because of the pandemic, we're now seeing masks and rubber gloves and all those things washing up on shore. So we have to be very careful about how we dispose of these consumables. of these disposable items, because there is no such thing as a way. And this is a closed loop system. This planet is a small little orb, and whatever we do to it comes back to haunt us. So our everyday actions really do make a huge difference. And if we want a healthier future for our children, we have to be very careful about what we do to our life support system. It's not about conservation, although that's certainly an integral part of the action plan, but it's about what kind of viable future do we want? And if that's an answer that I think most of us say a healthier future for us and for our children, then we have to be very careful with the way we dispose and use things like plastic.
Yes. And, you mentioned the pandemic. It has only exacerbated the problem that we've been starting to become more aware of globally, where, as you were mentioning, the metric ton, we have a figure here of in the States of 8 million tons per year going into the ocean added, that the pandemic only has increased. And for folks who are like me, that those big numbers really are difficult to conceptualize. I recently saw someone break it down to articulate that it's roughly a garbage truck full of plastic every minute being dumped somewhere, or collectively in our waterways and oceans around the globe every hour, every day, every week for a year. So you think of that amount of a garbage truck. So even in this live stream of 20 to 25 garbage trucks of plastic are going into the ocean as we're talking about this problem. It's very urgent. It's something that we appreciate all of you today watching and our guests to really focus in on. So let's get down to the actions that we would love people to consider taking. So Natalie, what about in Tennessee? What are some things that you and the aquarium are encouraging people to do to take action?
One of the things I think a lot of people don't realize is where is the main sources of our plastic pollution coming from. One of the main sources is coming from the clothes that we actually are purchasing on a daily basis. Just like I talked about some of those cosmetic consumables and products that people are purchasing and may not realize that their microplastics are found in that. Our clothing also has microplastics in it, those synthetic fibers and textiles. So if you see polyester or nylon, those are two examples of man-made particles or plastics are made into our clothing. So when you purchase your clothing and then you put them into the washing machine, those microplastics are going into our waterways. So being very mindful of the consumables you buy and just thinking about ways that you can make a difference, because your choice does matter.
Thank you. It's something that I've recently started really investigating. So I know your team there and other aquariums around the country in particular are really leading some great research on this microplastic issue and the fabric connection. So Fabien, what can we do as a global community to inspire change?
It's very important that we understand that we as individuals are part of the problem and we are key to the solution. So less packaging, being more careful, as Natalie mentions about our clothing choices. All those things are important because at the end of the day, on average, we have about a credit card size worth of plastic in our bodies as a result of the decades of ignorance of what we've done to our circulatory system of the planet. So making better choices in the supermarket as well. Half of the fish, seafood now has plastic in it that we purchase. So these things are really important. I mean, it might sound trite to recycle and reduce and reuse and refuse if possible. These are things that as individuals we can do that don't necessarily cost us any more. Sometimes they even saves us a few pennies, a little bit of money, but they're extraordinarily important on the global scale in terms of that. And I'll emphasize that as far as the United States or North America is concerned, we're talking about 5% of the world's population consuming over 20% of the world's resources. We are absolutely key to making better decisions.
It's so true. It's so true. And, I'll just share with Wash to Shore, we too really encourage all of our followers to consider those actions you can take personally. Many, I'm sure, of Aquarium and your Ocean Learning Center followers are pretty up to speed already with using reusable water bottles and multiple use bags when they're shopping. But I really would encourage everyone to challenge themselves on this World Ocean Week, as you mentioned, to really consider what's something that's a little bit more difficult to replace that plastic in your life. I'll just say recently I challenged myself to eliminate toothpaste tubes because those are something you can't recycle. And we see those types of things, toothbrushes as well, washing up on the beach. And so I researched products and some bamboo things to eliminate that in my own life. So the little phones are great sources in our pockets every day to solutions to these problems if you challenge yourself. So I do want to thank you all for being part of this conversation around solutions to ocean plastic pollution. We really want to, again, encourage that collective action. We do have power as consumers, as we heard from our guests today, to improve the health of ourselves as well as the health of our planet. And speaking of collective action, I also want to thank all the behind the scenes folks who've helped make this happen, but also help us at our individual organizations achieve our mission every day with things that we don't see on camera or get promoted. So thank you to everyone who contributes to all the work we do. Thank you to our hosts here in Seven Devils here in Coos Bay, and all of you who joined us today for Looking Upstream, searching for solutions to ocean pollution. And in particular, you, Natalie Rogers at Tennessee Aquarium, and Fabien Cousteau as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy World Ocean Week.
World Ocean Week.
Yes.
Thank you.